Hello everyone, my name is Erica Othen of Crystalline Codes, and I'm here to activate and illuminate to help raise the vibration on Earth. Welcome to a weekend edition of my planetary energy report. This is going to be a channeled astrology reading for Saturday, April 11th and Sunday, April the 12th. So I'm super excited to share this because I've been receiving some major downloads about certain planets, certain alignments, and different archetypes, and I'm really excited to translate and express how this all relates to our experience here on Earth. So diving right into the chart, on Saturday the 11th, we have the sun at 22 degrees of Aries. Now, the sun is just about conjunct Eris, okay? Eris, she was discovered in 2005. She's been in the sign of Aries since about 1922 and will continue to be in Aries until like the 2040s. So pretty much we all have Eris in Aries. It's really relevant in your own astrology chart what house she's in and what aspect she's making to your different personal planets. But as far as the collective energy, we are really feeling this Sun Eris connection. Eris has actually been making a square to the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which is at back in January, 23 degrees of Capricorn, to the Pluto-Jupiter conjunction, which is still going on now, which is about 24, 25. So she's just been a major player in everything that we've been experiencing in the collective. Eris has been coming through so strong for me these past few days. I've been doing a ton of research. I've been just like receiving a lot of downloads about her energy, and I'm really excited to share this information because it's kind of taken me a little bit of time to integrate it all because it's been a lot, like a ton of information is coming through. I really want to translate it properly. So she was discovered in 2005, 2006. She is known as a dwarf planet, but many feel, and in my opinion, I feel that she really should be considered an actual planet. If you consider the two luminaries, the sun and the moon, Pluto, the rest of the gang, Mercury, Venus, Mars, all the things, plus the outer planets, she would actually be the 13th planet. So it's really interesting, this whole number 13, right? 13 is actually a sacred number. It is the number of the goddess. It is the number of a lot of sacred geometry uses the number 13, and it really represents like hidden knowledge, esoteric knowledge. So to me, it's very interesting how this like dark feminine planet, right, or dwarf planet as they're calling, is known as the 13th planet, okay? That she's kind of been like cast out or exiled from the planetary status. She's been demoted. Upon her discovery, she actually demoted Pluto along with her, which is interesting because Pluto used to be considered a planet. Now it's also a dwarf planet. But this really goes along with the mythology of Eris. So a little bit about that. Eris is the sister to Ares, who is the god of war. So she is a warrior goddess archetype. And the mythology goes that basically all the gods and goddesses were invited to this wedding, everyone except for Eris. So she was pretty pissed off, not too happy about that, decides to show up very a la Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty, the way Maleficent just like shows up upon the birth of Princess Aurora in the Disney movie. So basically Eris just shows up to the party uninvited. She's kind of like a wild card, so that's the reason why they didn't invite her in the first place. So she shows up, takes a golden apple, throws it into the crowd. On the apple it says "to the fairest," and then all of the goddesses start fighting over this apple. Well, this action of hers, because Aries, the sign of Aries is very action oriented, so is Eris, like She's kind of like an instigator, right? She's like an activist and an instigator. So all the goddesses are fighting. This actually ends up causing the Trojan War. So in my opinion, Eris, they call her the goddess of chaos and discord. Okay, in my opinion, she is so much more than that. Her expression is really like a revolutionary. She is an activist. She has just this really powerful, fiery energy. It's interesting because she's kind of like this archetype of many of the different darker goddesses. So she's got a little bit of Kali Ma in there. She has some Lilith, definitely strong Lilith energy. Some goddess Isis energy I definitely feel from her. I also feel some Persephone. She was originally going to be called Persephone. And then she's got some like Sekhmet energy for sure. So she's known as the goddess of war. She's also known as he has a really healing energy. It's a very maternal energy that to me is very similar to Sekhmet. Sekhmet keeps on coming through strong when I'm thinking of this connection with Aries, because there's almost like this tribal desire to take care of her kin, her tribe, her community, being very loyal to that. Don't mess with the cubs or else you're gonna get the wrath of the mama lion or the mama, tiger. So she has that energy for sure. It's interesting because I really do feel like these darker tones where how they just said, oh, she's the goddess of discord and chaos, and it's just another way that I feel the powers that be kind of demonize and distort different aspects of the feminine that are not like the mother role or, the virgin role, or kind of like the partner, like the consort, like they always say. So it's almost like the society doesn't even want to go there to admit that there's all of these different dimensions of the feminine, and that it's just so powerful. Her expression is very fierce. And what kept on coming through is that quote that's well-behaved women rarely make history, right? And that is very Eris energy. She's not well behaved. If you piss her off, she's gonna let you know it. She's kind of like the higher octave of Lilith. Not higher octave as in higher road. She's almost like the witchy sister or aunt that taught Lilith, gave Lilith the apple and the information. She's all about sharing information and knowledge, hidden knowledge, right? She's also about speaking up and standing up and speaking out and breaking free. And she really is about sovereignty. When I'm tuning in to her vibration, it's reclaiming your power, reclaiming your sovereignty, not bowing down. So all of those vibrations are very Lilith-esque. The sun illuminating this point. It's interesting because we are currently experiencing a time where there's lots of rules and regulations and a lot of unknown in the collective. And Eris is don't give Eris a rule for no good reason, right? Or don't throw a rule at Eris or this kind of collective energy where it doesn't really make sense, or things seem to be a little off or distorted. She's almost like a Judge Judy, the way Judge Judy will tell someone no, that's not truth and it doesn't make sense, so it's not truth. She's a truth seeker for sure. She's a renegade, right? So right now in the collective, I can feel it. There's this Eris renegade energy just kind of rising up, right? Where speaking out against inequality and injustice and just speaking, almost fighting for the underdog in a way. And let me know if I'm wrong, but isn't kind of humanity almost the underdog right now? The 99% is kind of the underdog right now. So it's interesting because this Eris vibration is very, very just wants to kind of just break free free and liberate, right? So this dark goddess energy is being highlighted in the collective, you know, and it's not just about the feminine, although Eris is definitely like a femme fatale kind of vibration. She's strong, she's empowered, she's mysterious, right? She's got this like channel into the unknown, which makes me think about like the womb and the cosmic womb and how that all relates. We're like in this like cocoon womb like holding period right now. And it's like, well, how long is this going to last? Everything is very unknown. But we can really illuminate our truths, you know, like seeking truth, seeking equality and justice. Eris is a very like justice for all, especially, you know, those who don't have a voice, you know, those who need to like speak up and break free. So, especially with this sun in Aries, there's like this warrior archetype being ignited and highlighted right now, but it's like a sacred warrior, right? It's like a warrior for a noble cause, like a heart-centered warrior that's being ignited right now. I made a few notes and I want to dive into that to make sure that I'm hitting everything with this Eris archetype. So she's a lot about like unity consciousness, right? Because in the mythology of Eris, she was the only one who wasn't included in the wedding, right? So there's that like energy of being cast out or exiled, and she just wanted, you know, to be a part of it. She wanted to belong. You know, I got into that little thing about how she's like this distorted, kind of demonized version of the feminine, which much of these shadow goddesses, like the darker feminine archetypes are. She's got that Kali, Sekhmet, Isis, Ceres, Persephone with a little mix of Lilith. She is the higher octave of Lilith. Let's see. Okay, so this was something that I thought was really interesting. So, Eris being discovered in 2005, 2006. She was demoted pretty quickly to a dwarf planet. So she was like kicked out of the planetary party, okay? Her vibration is very similar to Ophiuchus. So Ophiuchus is like the 13th constellation that was kind of kicked out of our like consciousness, right? We have the 12 constellations, we have the 12 signs, but if you look at, you know, the constellation, like all of them, you'll see that Ophiuchus is actually like right there. Ophiuchus is squeezed in between like Scorpio and Sagittarius, okay? And if I were to give a planetary ruler to Ophiuchus, it would be Eris. Like it would for sure be Eris. I received that like download, that because all of the different like signs, right, have planetary rulers. So Ophiuchus is a very similar vibration to everything that I'm talking about with Eris. You know, that it was exiled and demoted, and they both have this number 13, which is a number of the goddess. It's like this hidden esoteric knowledge, this more like occult knowledge. It's, you know, in our society, in our modern society, like Friday the 13th for so long was known as this like bad omen, right? Like it was something negative that we had to be fearful of. Eris's energy is very much the same thing. She's like a systems buster. The same thing with Ophiuchus. Think about it. They're like systems busters. Like if we end up integrating Ophiuchus into all of the signs, our Gregorian calendar, which is the 12-month calendar, will actually have to be expanded. So it's now shining light that, perhaps this Gregorian calendar that we've been adhering to, I want to say for, you know, ages now, maybe wasn't the appropriate, what's the word that I'm looking for? The appropriate like time, you know, it wasn't like the appropriate evaluation of time. So having Eris really come to light right now, the correlation with Ophiuchus, this whole 13th sign, now the Gregorian calendar, there's like a lot of information that's coming up and coming through of like, Why has this been like hidden? You know, why aren't we talking about this? Why isn't she a part of our solar system? Why isn't this consciousness a part? And it's because we all need to like integrate it, right? And accept it and bring it in. It's almost like doing shadow work, right? Eris and Ophiuchus and this whole correlation is a really beautiful example of, you know, our own need, both individually and collectively, to do shadow work. Our shadow is aspects of like ourselves, our ego, where we have either suppressed and diminished, or we're just like not fully integrating. So to shine love, to shine light in these aspects of ourself is what really helps us ascend, helps us evolve, helps us like grow, so we can like love every part of ourselves. There's a big call right now because we are experiencing this collective purge of our shadows. You can feel it in the air. You can see it in the vibration. These collective shadows are coming to light now, right? It's like exposing, coming to light so that we can heal them and we can shine light and love onto them, so we can really heal and move through them to finally release them and transmute them. So I thought that that was very interesting. Eris is connected to healing. She has that fierce maternal nature that I was talking about. Eris is also really connected to kind of like sexual energy, because she's got this like femme fatale kind of vibration. Just to put it into perspective, Angelina Jolie has a very strong Eris connection. I believe it's an Eris moon connection. So she's got that kind of like seductive, sultry, feminine vibration. I happen to have Eris right on my Venus, so I've got that same kind of Eris vibe. You know, and this is an aspect of the feminine that like can make people uncomfortable, right? An empowered sexuality for a woman, like expressing herself and reclaiming her power and her energy in that way, sometimes makes people uncomfortable, you know, especially like the one-dimensional outlook of the feminine. Like this Eris, dark, mysterious, seductive vibe can kind of freak people out a little bit, you know? So it's interesting how that's coming to light right now in the collective. Eris energy, along with Ophiuchus, right, is known as the cleanser, the purifier, the healer, the mystic, the witch, the shaman, right? So all of these cool vibrations are kind of coming to light with the light right here with this conjunction, also known as like the doula. So there's a big connection to our wombs and that space of where, you know, we create from, and sacred sexuality and all of that. So a lot of that beautiful energy. She's known as the initiate and the initiator, right? When I think of Eris, I'm almost seeing like the queen, like anointing, right? Like a coronation with the sword. So she's an initiator. She's tied to the dark feminine mysteries, the womb of all creation, the death and rebirth cycles. What came through to me is from womb to tomb, right? That's very much her vibration, which is kind of like a feminine counterpart to Pluto, right? The death and rebirth and resurrection and womb to tomb analogy is really strong right now. I think it would be really powerful and helpful to think about our current like holding period that we're in right now is like this incubation period, but we're all kind of in a womb, right? Where we're going within and doing the work and healing and moving through. We're in this like womb space, I feel is a very progressive, exalted perception of what we're experiencing right now. Eris is the activist. She is a revolutionary. She's going to speak up. She's going to speak out. She's the empowered voice that will speak out against any kind of injustice and inequality. She is the breakdown before the breakthrough, right? Which it seems right now, it's almost like we are at this apex point, this tipping point of like a collective crisis, right? Where we know and we feel it that things have not been working, and it hasn't been for the greatest good of all. It's been for the greatest good of a very small percentage. And the way that we have been operating, the collective humanity to one another, in our political structures, our governments, the corporations, the way that we have been operating is not sustainable, because it isn't like unified, it isn't equal. There really isn't a true justice to this system. So we're witnessing right now this like breakdown before we can finally like rebirth it. Right now we're like in this rebirth cycle. So that's an interesting thing. She's a catalyst for change. So right now, this catalyst for change is being highlighted and ignited. Ignited is a really good word to use with this Eris energy, because she's like this powerful force. She's dismantling the status quo, dismantling the hierarchy, dismantling the patriarchy, right? Like that is a very Eris vibration, almost like a channeled rage, right? For injustice to humanity and inhumanity, but she kind of has that poetic justice vibration, because she's very kind of smart and swift, and she's going to unveil and reveal hypocrisy in her own sort of kind of like poetic justice way. She is about revelation. She is a big player. Eris is a big player in this connection to the great awakening, because she's an igniter, an activator, right? An initiator. She's revealing these secrets that are hidden under the surface. Eris is about exposing truth. We are going to be seeing massive truths being exposed right now. This is a deep karmic cleansing, a deep karmic clearing and healing time for the collective, and Eris is part of that, shining light on what's been going down, like deep things, shining a light on things that like maybe you don't even want to see or like think about, but it's like, no, Eris is going to go there. She's going to rip it up and rip it out like the weeds, right? And then shine light to it, to like expose it to the truth, to then like heal through it, to have the light hit it like the sun. So a very Eris vibration with that. She's a renegade, a systems buster. She's a powerful force for change. She leads to epiphanies. Sometimes these epiphanies are a harsh truth, right? But it's about like shining that light, shining that mirror. She's exposing these truths. This Ophiuchus connection that I feel, if, she was kind of re-promoted, I guess I'll say, back to planetary status. If you think of Eris ruling Ophiuchus, Ophiuchus is known as the healer. So it has that like witch, healer, shaman vibration, because it's a serpent bearer. Think of the caduceus, okay, with this Ophiuchus vibration. So right now, as we are purging and healing and clearing, and we're doing this deep shadow work right now, individually, collectively, we really are expanding our DNA. Ophiuchus is like the caduceus, so it's a double helix DNA strand. Right now we are, operating that, but we're expanding and we're raising our Ka, our light body, and expanding to, a 12 helix DNA. Bringers of the Dawn talks a lot about this. There's a lot of that energy going on right now, where as we do this deep shadow work, as we do this deep healing and clearing, that we're actually expanding our light body, expanding our aura, raising our vibration, and really expanding our DNA to its full potential. We have been so limited and we have been blocked by expressing the full potential of our humanity, of our DNA, and we are really expanding it right now as we're doing the work. Eris is all about empowerment through shadow work. She's integrating all parts of self, shining a light and loving all parts of herself, which I really touched on. She's about destroying and creating something beautiful to rebirth something beautiful and remember it. Eris is the creatrix. I love that word, creatrix. So she is like this giver of life, right? A destroyer. She breaks it down, but then she like gives life to this rebirth. You know, she's the root power of allowing and receiving and birthing something new. She is that like sacred warrior archetype. She's a warrior queen defending her children, defending humanity, defending like the voiceless, right? And, you know, people, she's defending the truth. And then she is all about the warrior within. So Eris is about reclaiming our sovereignty. She is about empowered boundaries. It's interesting because we've got Characlo, who has also been a player in that whole Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And Characlo, who is Chiron's wife, is about the devoted healer. She's about boundaries with grace. She's kind of been behind the scenes, right? And doesn't need validation, but also was written out of history. In a way, the same thing with Eris. I mean, again, she wasn't discovered until 2005. That is because she's way out there in the solar system. She's so far that it took a long time. You can't see her with the naked eye, even though she is really large. She's, you know, bigger than Pluto. But because she's so far out there, it took a long time for her to be discovered. But this archetype of the dark feminine, the shadow feminine, the mysterious feminine, the feminine energy as the healer, the witch, that kind of energy, you know, she's kind of been written out of history. This is the feminine energy that has been buried and burned and crucified, right? So it's interesting that all of that is coming out to surface to really reclaim our power, to reclaim our sovereignty, to reclaim our energy, to reclaim our consciousness. Okay, we are reclaiming our consciousness now by reclaiming our sovereignty. So really powerful vibrations of this. And then the last note that I wrote was reclamation of energy, our power, our sovereignty. She's about resurrection, reclaiming and rebirthing consciousness into ascended forms. So those are all the beautiful vibrations of Eris, and you can see how all of those themes are really coming to light. The Sun conjunct Eris is all about coming to light, rebirthing this energy, this consciousness into our current modern reality so we can reclaim it. What has been coming through very strong with this, Magdalene code. So Mary Magdalene has been coming through, and that devoted partner, but also like the forgotten feminine, the aspect of the feminine that has been repressed or concealed or written out or buried or burned, right? All of this is rising to the surface. Truths are rising to the surface, and we are, by illuminating it, we are healing it. We are rewriting the story. So right now we are collectively rewriting her story. Right? We're rewriting and reclaiming the aspects of the feminine that had been forgotten. And so we're going to be seeing a lot of this energy illuminated in this way. Okay, so that was a lot about Eris. I am like loving her archetype. I've been having so much fun channeling this information and putting all the pieces together with Ophiuchus and Eris. And I think I'm gonna do another video about it, like maybe devote a video just to the energy of Eris. But I thought that it would be fun to throw it into this horoscope. So the next thing that I am seeing, we've got Mercury just moved into Aries. So this is a whole other level of consciousness for Mercury. We just moved it from Mercury in Pisces, now Saturday moved into Aries. And you know, Aries is that initiating energy. Aries is about our ego, right? So with Mercury being our mind and our thoughts, how we communicate our thoughts and ideas, moving into Aries is like fresh new thoughts, fresh new ideas. This is like this new activation for our mind, for the power of our mind. Mercury in Pisces was this very kind of like mystical, magical, like seeing behind the veil kind of energy. Mercury in Aries is a whole other different kind of like fiery, passionate vibration. Mercury is going to be joining in a couple days, about pretty much Monday, this Chiron Lilith connection in Aries. So another theme that's coming through for this weekend is this like dark feminine coming to light, healing of these dark feminine wounds. Chiron is all about where we are healing. So right now, Chiron and Aries, collectively, we are healing our ego. We are healing the masculine, okay? The masculine, within us all, the yin, the yang kind of energy within us all. But this Chiron Lilith is healing the shadow feminine, healing the energy of the feminine that has been repressed, that has been suppressed, that has been kind of like cast out. So collectively we're healing this wound of like where we belong, where all the aspects of the feminine belong. We're literally reintegrating the pieces of the feminine right now and bringing her to light, all these different aspects, not just the very limited perception of like the virgin, the lover, and the mother. All of the dimensions of the feminine are coming to light now and really healing. Chiron is also healing collectively all aspects of where we have suppressed and diminished ourselves, right? Chiron wants us to kind of heal these wounds of our ego, these wounds of our shadow. Where can you love yourself more? Where can you, kind of devote energy to your healing? Where can you, come back home to your heart, really, and out of your mind, out of your ego, right? So that is all a very kind of Chiron, Lilith, and Aries connection. We've still got this beautiful trine going on with Venus and Mars. So this trine between Venus and Mars is going to be going pretty much all month. So all throughout the month of April, we have this beautiful trine. Mars is like the divine masculine. It's our energy. It's our kind of like direction, right? And Venus is the divine feminine. It is how we allow, how we receive. It is also beauty. So we've got this nice, that is a really like sweet vibration of, kind of what we're experiencing. With the collective energy, it's kind of taking a little heat, I'll say, off all of this like fiery and initiating energy that's going on with Mercury, Chiron, Lilith, the Sun, and Eris all in Aries. Let's talk about the moon. So the moon is going to be moving through the sign of Sagittarius on Saturday the 11th. So the moon in Sagittarius is a really nice vibration for really tuning in, because the moon is all about our feelings and emotions. It's tuning into higher possibilities, right? The higher road, illumination, having faith, surrendering. It's almost like this like very optimistic kind of like positive influence. So with all of this fire going on and all this work and all the cleansing and clearing, and then the structures and the control and like all of these kind of denser energies that have been going on in Capricorn, the moon in Sagittarius is going to kind of bring this light energy, which is much needed and is going to be really refreshing. The moon is going to be going over the great attractor. Pretty much, let's see what time I made this chart. So around 12 p.m., that is Pacific time, the moon is going to be going over the great attractor. Now that is a gigantic anomaly in space. It's not quite a black hole because it doesn't have an event horizon, but it is like a huge portal, like a huge vortex. So anytime any sort of planet, the sun, the moon, goes through this point, it almost like comes out of bounds, like it comes out of time and space. So this could be a time for like quantum leaps. This could also, it might feel a little weird, like midday. It would be a really great time for meditation. Would be when this moon is kind of at this great attractor point, because you can kind of really tap into the higher dimensions, tap into, you know, your angels, source, your guides during this time. Ancient Egyptian codes always really come through. So a lot of the ancient Egyptian deities and archetypes, and this is like, you know, the mystery school trainings of the initiates, right? All kind of have this great attractor vibration. This is also the energy of, again, healers, mystics, shaman. The moon at 13 degrees is going to be going pretty much through the degrees where Ophiuchus would be. Okay, so Ophiuchus would be 7 degrees Sagittarius through about 26. That is right up until the galactic center. So the moon is also not only going to be going through Aquarius, but it's going to be crossing these Ophiuchus points, right, in the sky. So this is all really relevant because you can tune in to your inner healer, your inner mystic, your inner shaman. Right now, these like mystery school codes, like our inner ancient wisdom and knowing, right, is really, we're able to tap into this vibration to our ancestors right now with the moon going through this point. This also, I'm channeling it as that Ophiuchus connection with the caduceus, so the 2 strands of our DNA being expanded, our light body being expanded. So as the moon goes through this vibration, all of this is possible. Remember, anytime it comes with Sagittarius, it's like infinite possibilities. It's about our beliefs. So what you believe in can really manifest and will help you raise your vibrations. So kind of attuning your beliefs to the highest possibility, the infinite timeline, the ideal timeline, the infinite would be really powerful way to navigate this transit and to kind of express these different themes of Sagittarius. It's all about having faith and trusting and surrendering. Those are all different themes as the moon kind of moves through this point. Let's see what else I want to talk to you about on the 11th. So I feel like that is pretty much the predominant vibrations of Saturday. Let's hop right into the chart for Sunday the 12th. Okay, so we've got that Sun Eris to the exact degree. So bam, 23 degrees, Sun exactly conjunct Eris. So all of those themes that I just spoke about in the beginning of the video, really bringing that all to light. We have, okay, the moon is going to move into Capricorn at around 7:38 p.m. Pacific, okay? It's going to be changing signs. So earlier in the day on Sunday, it's going to be going through the galactic center. The galactic center is literally the center of the Milky Way galaxy. This is where multidimensional consciousness streams through. So we are super in tune to all the realms, all of the dimensions. You can really, we're very like intuitive and psychically connected. The moon is also our subconscious, so be really mindful of your dreams on Saturday night, very, very early Sunday morning, okay? Because we are collectively really tuning into these different kind of realms with this galactic center portal that's being opened, because it's also a stargate, right? So you know, the stargate to higher levels of consciousness is being illuminated with the moon. Then around, like I said, 7-8 p.m. Pacific, the moon is going to move right into Capricorn. So this is relevant because it's going to be conjunct the South Node. This is a very karmic time, okay? The moon conjunct the South Node, very karmic. So just be really mindful of things that may be coming up about your past, your childhood, your family, your lineage, your ancestors, things coming to light. Also truths and, different things being exposed within the collective, coming to light, kind of reaping the karma of, these different structures and governments and things, because it is all in Capricorn. Let's see what else we have going on. So we have Mars. Mars is making a relatively wide square to Uranus. That is the energy of the freedom fighter. Again, the activist. It's kind of more of like a masculine vibration because it's Mars. It's be mindful of like your internet connection and things, just your communication. I would be mindful of that because, Mercury in Aries kind of can be like temper, right? So maybe take it down a little bit with your communication, kind of slow down if you need to ground before you say things, because you're gonna, Mercury in Aries kind of has that tendency to pop off. So, and then with the Mars, Uranus vibration, like there's a lot of fire in the chart. There's a lot of fire going on just in the collective energy in general. So it should be interesting to see how that all plays out. But I really do feel that the saving grace of this, kind of taking it down a couple notches, bringing a little lightness, bringing a little bit of love, is the Mars-Venus trine, right? That's going to make things feel a lot lighter, a lot brighter. What else do we have going on here? I talked about that. I talked about the nodes. So the nodes are going to be squaring, which is like a harder aspect, right? It's kind of like a challenging aspect, Mercury, that just popped into Aries. So the nodes are like our collective karma, our dharma, right? So at 1 degrees Cancer, that's where the North Node is. That's like a North Star to home, family, feeling safe, secure, feeling nourished. So a really wonderful way to channel this transit, this energy, is to take time and space to tap in to what makes you feel good, what makes you feel loved. How can you nurture yourself? How can you nourish yourself? How can you speak words of affirmation to yourself, putting energy into your words, and how you talk to yourself through these kind of very difficult, dense, like those kind of transits that we're speaking, like that we're experiencing, right? So being very gentle with yourself. It's a very Cancer vibration. Giving yourself love, like doing some mirror work would be a really powerful way to channel this vibration, affirming through your speech to yourself, like I am, which is a very Aries. Aries is all about I am consciousness. So I am safe, I am secure, I am supported, I am loved, I am emanating perfect health, I am in balance, I am in harmony, I am always guided, I have my angels all around me. Different things that you can say and speak to existence and speak life into would be a really beautiful way to channel this transit. Let's see what else. I feel that is probably everything that I wanted to talk about. As far as the astrology, you know what? One more thing. We'll go into this Venus Vesta vibration. So Venus is at 7 degrees of Gemini. Vesta is at 8 degrees of Gemini. So Venus is coming up onto Vesta. This is a really sweet vibration. Vesta is an asteroid. She's known as keeper of the sacred flame. A lot of priestess codes are coming through with this Venus Vesta, because Venus is the divine feminine. It's our inner goddess, how we love, how we give and receive love. Venus is our heart. Venus is also, how we allow, how we kind of soften into things. So we got all this fiery energy and this igniting and this like our little inner freedom fighter, like activist, renegade is being super ignited by, the Eris and all of those different connections that I just spoke of. Vesta is devotion to your heart. Right? So devoting time, energy, space, healing into your heart, into what you love, into your loved ones, into a relationship. Venus is also a relationship. So this could be a deepening into your heart, a deepening into a relationship, a partnership. In Gemini, it is like communicating how you feel, communicating. It's like a commitment to your heart. That is a silver lining in the energy for this weekend. That is a little golden key, committing to your heart, coming back home to your heart. Just really healing your heart and devoting your heart, emanating love, right? This Venus Vesta is a devotion to love, to what you love. Also devotion to beauty, because Venus is beautiful. So finding the beauty in all things, finding that silver lining in all things. So yeah, I think that is pretty good with all of the different astrology and the planetary alignments that we're going to be experiencing. I think it would be really nice to pick a card for this weekend. So I'm going to be picking a card from the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light deck. Love working with this one. Okay, so calling in the energy of our angels, our guides, our cosmic family, our star lineage of the highest light, the most benevolent energy for the greatest good of all. Calling in the energy of God, of Source, Divine Mother, Divine Father. Calling in all the gods and goddesses, all the ascended masters, and just the highest, most benevolent energy of the purest light. Going to pull a card for the collective. This is going to be the energy for the collective. What message I can share? Let's do 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so the first card that I picked for the collective is Dance. Okay, this is a beautiful card. It says do something to shift your vibration. So we're experiencing a lot of this fiery energy, right? It's like this breakdown before this breakthrough, and it's we're really being ignited right now with this kind of initiative, kind of instigating energy. It would be really powerful to move your body, let it flow, let it out. If you're feeling any kind of density in any of your chakras right now, we're really because there's just a lot of fear, and there is a lot of just unknown, right? A negative kind of energy permeating in the collective. We're really, some of us may be stuck in these lower chakras and they need to be released. This energy needs to be transmuted. So dance, shake it out, move your body, let it flow. A really powerful way that you can tune into your own body would be through yoga, stretching. Go outside into the sun in your backyard, just kind of stretching into the sun, moving your body, dance like nobody's watching. Just do it for you to kind of shake free and move this energy from your body. The next card is Fill Up Your Well. So yeah, this is a very lunar vibration. Some beautiful imagery on this card. It says rest, retreat, refuel. So with the moon going through Sagittarius on Saturday, I think it would be really powerful to kind of rest, relax, recharge yourself. You know, go within. This is a really good time to go within, because moon in Sagittarius is like a kind of adventure seeking vibration. So you're probably going to want to like break free and break out and do things and kind of like experience life again, right? By like going outside. But because of everything and the rules and the mandates and everything, where we're kind of in this incubation, we're in this womb, we're in this chrysalis period, and we can't really do the things that we normally would want to do to kind of break free. Just your perception of this time being a womb, being a time for healing, a time to kind of go within and rest and refuel, you know, rebirthing yourself. Use this time as a creative space. Also, meditating is really powerful as the moon moves through Sagittarius, especially when it hits that great attractor point around 12 p.m. Pacific on Saturday, and then really late into the evening and very early into the morning, the very early hours of the morning. It's going to be going through the galactic center, so a really beautiful time to tune into your dreams. You know, you're gonna have some very cosmic dreams, I would imagine. A lot of imagery, being mindful, maybe writing it down, journaling some of your dreams, or just taking that space to meditate, you know, and see what comes through. The veil is thinner. We are more able to access all of these different multi-dimensional realms. And then I do want to say too, taking this time to raise your vibration. That is the most important thing, as we have all of these different elements affecting our consciousness right now. It is very important that you maintain your vibration, that you remember that you are light, that you remember that you are love, that you focus on whatever you can do to elevate your vibration by feeling good, nourishing yourself, eating healthy foods, praying, you know, kind of doing things that make you feel good, that kind of fill up your cup, right, is going to be very, very supported. And then the last card that I received is Leap. Okay, beautiful card right here. It says, you go first. The universe will catch you. So very much in alignment with the Eris energy, which is like, you know, she's a systems buster. She's a renegade right now, like our inner activist and our inner awakener is very supported. So speak your truth, speak from your heart, share your message, share your gifts. Moon in Sagittarius is a very like, have faith, know that this is all divinely aligned, that is part of a intricate plan. Okay, and that we are infinitely supported, we are infinitely guided in all of us. We are safe to shine our light. We are safe to share our gifts. We are safe and always supported to, you know, express ourselves, our full expression and our full radiance. We are so safe and supported in doing this. So it's like, take that leap, be that inspiration, be that light, hold, reveal, you know, emanate that light that you are, so you can inspire other people around you, your family, your friends, your community, just holding that energy of inspiration and shining it out unto the world. You are so, so, so supported in this. So I think that is going to be complete for my planetary energy report, the weekend edition. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It is truly an honor to share what I love to do, which is, you know, illuminating all of this esoteric wisdom. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this message resonates, I would really appreciate it if you would visit my YouTube channel, like, share, please subscribe. I'm going to be sharing many more of these videos there. Also, the full videos are going to be shared on my YouTube, and just sending you blessings on blessings and prayers for comfort and peace as you navigate these transitions with grace and ease. Thank you so much for tuning in from my heart. to yours. Sending you so much love.